1 month after Trayvon Martin was killed, an answer to one of the big questions is sort of as hazy as ever. Why was he killed? We spoke to a friend of George Zimmerman's yesterday. His name is George Taff, and Frank Taff, I think his name is. And he said that Trayvon may have stood out to George for a reason. Listen.
We had 8 burglaries in our neighborhood, all perpetrated by young black males in the 15 months prior to Trayvon being shot.
Well, that's not exactly accurate. 8 burglaries in the past 15 months is not correct. In fact, according to the police department, there have been 8 burglary reports in the past 14 months, and 4 of them involved complaints against black males. The rest of the reports had no witnesses and no race identity attached to them. The Trayvon Martin case has made Sanford ground zero, in a way, for race relations. The entire city has been dissected as everyone's trying to make sense of the shooting. So we bring in Jeff Triplett now. He's the mayor of Sanford, Florida. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you for talking with us. Certainly appreciate it. You've had, I think, 3 protests in Sanford, and then across the country there have been another 8 protests. It's a city of, what, 50,000 plus people or so. Do you worry about the image of your city?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of our big issues right now, that this doesn't, as I've said before, that this doesn't define who we are. This isn't, you know, this isn't the type of place we are. It's a friendly neighborhood. You know, we're 53,000 people. You know, we've got a lot of diversity in our city, and we just have to work down the path to make sure that what some of the media is portraying of our city is just not true.
What kinds of things do you think are not true?
I mean, there's no, you know, we've got a great police department. We've got some great men and women in the police department. You know, our community relations are good. If you walk down our historic downtown riverfront or our downtown neighborhoods, or go shopping in any of our stores, you'll see the wide range of diversity in our neighborhoods. You know, we're 30% African American. You know, about 60% Caucasian. It's very diverse, and for the most part, everyone is very friendly.
Does your community have a problem with crime, and if it does, who's committing those crimes?
You know, I really don't have the answer to that. You know, we just like any other city have our fair share of crimes that are committed. You know, we have robberies and burglaries in our neighborhoods, just pretty much typical of every other city.
Mr. Mayor, Ron Brownstein from National Journal, good morning. In many diverse cities, the place where the different races come together most often is in the schools. I'm interested in what the kind of the atmosphere has been like, you think, in your school system since the shooting?
From what I've heard, I've had several conversations with our superintendent of Seminole County Schools and the chairman of the board, you know, Dr. Calderon, and you know, they got together real quick with the city when this hit the national spotlight. We had a lot of discussions. We got in front of all the principals, that if there is questions or concerns or talk, that they know exactly what's going on, and there's been some great dialogue thus far. You know, when this happened, the students were on spring break for a week, so we actually had a little bit of extra time before they came back to get out in front of it and make sure that we had the discussions with the principals, you know, that trickle down from the principals to the students. So from what I've heard so far, you know, our school system's done a great job of getting out in front of it.
Real quick, what kind of programs have they undertaken in the schools? What are they doing?
I don't know of any specific programs. It's just been an open dialogue that if the questions have been asked, that you know, the faculty has had the answers, that have been, you know, open for the dialogue in the classrooms. And from what I've heard so far, there's been no problems with it thus far.
Final question, Van.
Hi, my name is Van, and I appreciate you being on, Mr. Mayor. First of all, this kid's kind of close to home for me. I'm an African American parent, and you know, I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, am I going to have to dress my kids in tuxedos for them to be able to walk down the street to get a candy bar? The whole thing. Can you understand the way this is landing with people? And I just wonder, you know, I think to myself, an African-American kid, if this was reversed, an African-American kid wandering around the neighborhood with a gun saying, I'm protecting my neighborhood, and I saw this white guy, I don't think he belonged here, and I shot him. It's hard to imagine that black kid wouldn't be in jail. Can you understand why people across the country are concerned and bewildered by why there hasn't been an arrest?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've stated before that I don't even truly understand why there wasn't an arrest. You know, that goes to the state of Florida and the stand your ground laws and such that are going to come out with the special prosecutor. You know, I think you know, it goes beyond the city of Sanford as to, you know, the other part of that question is, you know, it goes to, you know, beyond the city of Sanford as to relations and profiling and all that's going to come out. You know, I totally understand and I feel for the parents of Trayvon and any other parent that has that has these concerns. You know, I too have you know, two young boys and you know, I think about it, you know, if it truly was because of the hoodie or what have you. And as I said, I can't walk a mile in your shoes, but I can walk a mile next to you. And hopefully we can work with the Department of Justice and work with programs within our city, you know, with best practices from some other cities that have been through this to you know, try to work on those issues and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Jeff Triplett is the mayor of Sanford. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you for talking with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So in my conversation with Frank Teff, I asked him about a quote that had been attributed to him in the New York Times. Here is how that conversation went. I'm sorry, Frank, let me ask you one other question. You said this, your quote in the New York Times talking about these burglaries. You said this. You said they were Trayvon-like dudes with their pants down. So I think part of that means with baggy pants. That's a misquote from the New York Times?
I never said that. Yes, it is.
Okay.
I never used that term, and I'd like to go on record. I never said that.
Okay, so he said several times, he never said that. He said he was misquoted by the New York Times, so we reached out to the New York Times and asked them if, in fact, they could confirm that quote, and they said yes, they stand by their reporter on that story, and they stand by that quote and that story. Still